Yeah, hello everybody. It's Royce here, and I want to welcome you all to the channel. Royce in the house. Got my co-host here, Chris Elliott, my other co-host, Johnny L, Big Johnny, and tonight we're going to be covering Bob Marley. Bob Marley, and I just want to say that 5 or 6 weeks ago I did a Bob Marley show, and the topic of that show was the night Bob Marley got shot. Bob Marley, his wife, and several other people that were with him all got shot. Nobody died, thankfully, but Bob was shot, in two places: leg and arm, or arm and chest, or something. Nobody died, fortunately. Politically motivated. There was a really contested political campaign going on. It was getting really ugly, and
Mm.
everybody assumed that that's what it was all about. They never caught the people that did the shooting, although some were recognized, and they say maybe some Jamaican justice took place after the fact. So
Mm.
anyway, I encourage everybody to go to the channel Royce in the House and look up that video. It's only 10 minutes long. The whole video, the night Bob Marley was shot, is only 10 minutes long. I do these long live podcasts like we're doing tonight that can last an hour or more, but I also have my shorter music based podcasts, and the Bob Marley one was one of them. Another great one that I did, or I think it was great, it got a lot of views. It was Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin, the Lost Jam Session. Last I looked, it had 6,400 views, 18 minutes long. So anyway, so we've got a lot of stuff for you to look at. Hey, we've been joined by the Music Sanctuary. How you doing, buddy? French Vinyl Addict. Hey, guys, I'm putting the link up. Anybody else wants to come on the show, just come and join us, okay? There's a link for the show. Music Sanctuary, French Vinyl Addict, Daddy Boggs. Come on, come one, come all. I think I could fit 10 people. Daddy Boggs, I saw you this morning on another show, and you were talking about selling all your albums. I didn't get to watch for very long. We were getting ready to leave. And boy, shocking to me, because I know how you loved your Beach Boy collection in particular, and so many other albums. You know, guys, Daddy Boggs and I were on another channel a few years back where we all got to know each other. There's a whole bunch of us that were on that channel together. And we'd go to this vinyl competition where we'd show our albums and tell a story about them. If you won, you got free albums, from the sponsor. And Boggs, man, that guy was invincible. He was just knocking everybody out one right after another. I thought he'd never lose. So anyway, so here we are going to be talking about one of my favorite artists, Bob Marley. I love that reggae music. And and we also want to talk about his new movie, okay? Today is the 12th. The 14th, actually Valentine's Day, is when his new movie hits the movie houses. I said to my wife, "Hey, let's go down to the matinee. It's only $9 a head." She goes, "That's Valentine's Day. We have a dinner to go to." I go, "Oh, okay, never mind."
Oops.
I almost forgot. I won't forget again. I promise. The Hank Stones album I won. Never have opened it. Oh, no kidding, Daddy Boggs. Yeah, Daddy Boggs is a great guy. Johnny, were you on Rachel's stream this morning when Danny Boggs came on?
Yeah, I was listening to it. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, he's got a wonderful
Yep.
music room. Just
Hmm.
so much stuff in there. Memorabilia, albums,
Lots,
hats.
lots of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, lots of stuff in there. It's really a lot of fun to see. Okay, so back to Bob Marley and his new biopic that's coming out Wednesday. Story about his life in depth, and it's called One Love, one of his famous songs. Okay, well, what did Bob Marley sing about? Okay, he sang about poverty. He sang about oppression. He sang about violence. He sang about injustice. He was not angry. He just sang about all those things that touched his life living in Jamaica. Okay, he showcased themes of social justice, human rights, peace, love, unity. He is quoted as saying, "One good thing about music is when you hear it, you feel no pain." Okay. So, like I said, the movie's coming out. Hey, Jeff Davidson, how you doing, brother? I was just talking about Daddy Boggs and I were on a show together. Well, Jeff Davidson was there also. There's a big group of us that came from that show, and that no longer go to it. He sang about the pot. Yes, he sang about the pot. That's right. I've been to Jamaica. I've got a link up if anybody wants to join us. Multiple links if you scroll up. Just please do. We're going to have fun tonight. Okay, so on February 14th, 2024, as I mentioned, 2 days from now, Paramount Pictures will release Bob Marley's One Love. Okay, actually, the name of my previous Bob Marley show was the night Bob Marley was shot. But I also had my green screen up, and there was a great big poster back there. Not a poster, but it was a picture, and it said One Love on it. It had a picture of Bob Marley. I was going to try to set that up again tonight, but sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you go like that, and your hands disappear at the wrists, and so the next thing you know, you're going like this. Trying to prevent that from happening. Dr. Rick is here. Hey, Dr. Rick, good to see you, brother. Are you a Bob Marley fan? Okay, so the biopic's going to be released February 14th, which is Valentine's Day. Don't anybody forget that. And that's in 2 days, okay? And, the film, which stars, his name is Kingsley Ben-Adir as the singer, and Lashana Lynch as his wife, Rita Marley. Rita Marley was also shot when Bob Marley was shot, as well as several others, okay? Chronicles the life and struggles of the beloved musician. And Bob Marley is a very beloved musician, and especially in Jamaica, but around the world, really. He spent time in England. He got there, and he was in England when the what was the name of the a certain genre of music came up, punk. And so he did some songs that were kind of a mix of punk and reggae. And of course, we all know that Eric Clapton, a year after Bob Marley did it, released I Shot the Sheriff, a cover of it. And that really catapulted reggae music and Bob Marley, more on the national scene. Got him way more recognition than it previously had. Okay, so the film is being produced by his children, Ziggy and Cedella, as well as his widow, Rita Marley. Now, I want to tell you that I got to see Ziggy Marley in concert. Craziest little venue you ever saw. It's out in the middle of ranch country. It's about a 35-minute drive from where I live. Nothing but big cattle ranches all around. And it's called the Pozo Saloon. And that's all it's ever been, is a big saloon. You walk in and you get a big mug of beer. They put a bunch of olives in it for you if you like them. There's dollar bills pinned to the ceiling, one of those kind of places. Then you go in the next room. There's another bar. Then you go outside. And they used to have a big Mother's Day feast out there. We went several times, my wife and I, even the kids when they were smaller. And it's a fun place. And this is where Willie Nelson was coming for a while, about every year, Willie Nelson and Friends. And if you got there, and I got to go see that once, there was a big lineup of beautiful buses all the way down the road. That was the tour buses for Willie Nelson and Friends. But in addition to seeing Ziggy Marley there, I saw Snoop Dogg. I went with a bunch of my younger friends in a motorhome out there, and we went to see Snoop Dogg. And it wasn't like some flashy video, where he was wearing, pink leather or snakeskin shoes. It was a raw rap concert. We got up there with the wife beater on and just rapped, him and the band. And he was shocked to see how many people showed up where we were, out in the middle of nowhere. But anyway, Ziggy Marley, that was kind of fun. I went with a friend of mine named Travis, and we're standing there minding our own business, and somebody walks up that kind of worked at the venue there and goes, "You guys are invited to the after party." And we're like, "Yes, we're to go get high with Ziggy Marley, Bob Marley's son." And then toward the end, we were like, "Where'd this guy go?" We're looking for him, and they're like, "There is no after party." We're like, "Shit."
That must have been disappointing.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah, I mean, what a shock to be invited to begin with. Music Sanctuary, how you doing, brother? Danny Boggs is here. He came directly from the Wizard. Yes, directly from the Wizard. That's my friend, and everybody's friend, Danny Boggs' friend, Jeff Davison's friend. That show I told you we used to go to. We used to compete with our vinyl. We had one of the guys that was a co-host on that show, later co-hosted when I first started my show, was Pat Lucero. And he's got a record store. And he was referred to as the Wizard. And he opened an online record selling outlet called The, with two E's, Thee, The Wizard's Lair. And I've bought a whole bunch of like my Led Zeppelin. I think I bought some Ozzy Osbourne from him. Really fast, efficient. He gets the stuff out right away. He'll give you little tips and pointers, if there's something you shouldn't destroy, something you should save, in the wrappings and things like that. And Caitlin Stoddard just came on. Caitlin Stoddard would go to that show with me, Daddy Boggs, Jeff Davidson. It was a whole group of us, and we're still kind of in circulation. James Watson's here. Bob Marley, have you discussed ganja yet? No, we're working our way to that. So, okay. So, like I said, the film's produced by his children, Ziggy and how do you say her name, Cedella, as well as the widow, well as his widow. Okay, and let's see. Yeah, his widow. I can't think of her name right now. I mentioned it a few minutes ago. I'm starting to relate to what you were saying, Johnny. Okay, so he's arguably one of the most influential figures to come out of Jamaica. In fact, he is the #1 most popular man today in all of Jamaica. The last time I looked at that, and it was a couple of years ago when I did another show on Bob Marley. So Bob Marley unboxing and storytelling. Pat the Wizard was on it. Daddy Boggs was probably there somewhere. And a bunch of Caitlin was probably there. Anyway, I did this unboxing. It wasn't a real long show. It might have been 20 minutes or something like that. We talked about Bob Marley. But when I looked up who is the most popular person in Jamaica, I think it was Usain Bolt, if I'm saying it right. At the time, he was the fastest man alive. Is that how you say it, Chris?
Yeah, Usain Bolt.
Usain Bolt. Okay, yeah. And Bob Marley was #2 at the time. Well, Usain Bolt, maybe he's not the fastest man in the world anymore. He's way down the list, and Bob Marley's back at #1. And I would have been expecting that. Okay, the reggae artist who rose to prominence with songs such as I Shot the Sheriff, Could You Be Loved, No Woman, No Cry, you mentioned earlier, among other hits, was a humble, fearless, passionately critical ambassador of his beloved country. And he was critical. There's a lot of good in Jamaica, and there's a lot of crazy in Jamaica. And the crazy usually evolves around drugs. So anyway, he tragically died at the age of 37 on May 11th, 1981. In fact, Buffalo Soldier, one of my all-time favorite songs, was actually released posthumously after he died, a year after he died. Okay. So anyway, like I said, he died at 37, 1981, and that was melanoma. Now, he knew he had melanoma. He'd had it. They wanted to operate on him. He didn't want the operation. You got the hot sun in Jamaica, and everybody's running around with a tank top or shirtless, no hat on. And so he developed melanoma, the most lethal form of skin cancer. Didn't want the operation. He finally had the operation, but it was too late. At that point, it had spread. Maybe if he had that done back when they first diagnosed him with it, he might still be around today. He'd be old. I think like 79 or something like that. He was still around today. Yeah, well, yeah, it would have been his birthday. That's what this movie's coming out on his birthday. He would have been 79. It would have been his 79th birthday. Okay. And as his biopic, Bob Marley, One Love, hits the theaters. It was his birthday. Okay. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that. There was a lot of things I wanted to do, and I ran out of town. I wish that movie would have came out sooner, but I don't know. I think it's good timing. You do a show on it, you put it out there, movie hits, everybody's Googling it, trying to find out, oh man, I got to find out what's going on. They got a movie about Bob Marley. And, if the show does well, it'll be getting presented to people as something to watch when they do their YouTube or Google search. And so, timing can be everything sometimes. And then sometimes what you think is timing falls flat. You never know. Okay, so let's get a couple of comments out here, see what the good folks are saying. Shh, I'm listening to Bon Jovi. What? Turn that shit off. No, I like Bon Jovi. Yeah, he was big back in the day. He's still big.
Royce,
Yeah.
Bob Marley was a big doo-wop fan, the
No, I didn't know that.
Bob Marley and the Wailers sang a few doo-wop music. They were fans of the 50s and 60s. In fact,
That's totally cool.
The Wailers sang "Teenager in Love." Bob
No
Marley and the
kidding.
Wailers, yeah.
Wow. Wow, that's really interesting, Johnny. Thanks for sharing that. Look what Dr. Rick's saying. He was a general manager of a radio station where he got his BS and MBA. One of the air staff's fathers was Bob Marley's lawyer. He had Bob do a station ID for us while he was in a German hospital. Wow, that's amazing. How many kids has Bob Marley got? You know what? I really don't know, but I think
Lost
there is
count.
a minimum of 7. I know Ziggy Marley, one of his sons has 7, and so I would imagine, what's funny is he did he was singing Bob Marley was singing a song to his girlfriend while he was married to Rita. Her name was Rita, his wife. And he asked Rita to help on the song. And so Rita was helping him sing a song to his girlfriend. So that's how it is in Jamaica. When I was in Jamaica, this guy ran up to me. There's Dusty Spins. How you doing, Dusty? And just below him is Groovy Lisa. How you doing? He has way too many kids. He does. And most of them are reggae musicians. I know there's at least 2 or 3 of them are all doing music. But Ziggy is really good. I mean, I'm really glad I got to see him. I had no idea how good he was.
Royce, Bob Marley was supposedly assassinated or something, right?
He was shot, but he didn't die. He died of melanoma. Yeah.
So his wife injured in that as well?
Yes, she was shot too. Yeah.
Oh,
in fact, when they later did a concert that I think a lot of people thought he might have got killed at because it was shortly after those shootings, his wife Rita took this bloody head bandage, and blood was dry, but she wore that as she was up on stage during the show. And they got shot. 3 or 4 other people got shot. Nobody died.
I wonder if it was gang related, maybe too.
Well,
you think?
Yeah, they say, but it was politically motivated because there was an election going on. It was a really hotly contested election, and everybody wanted Bob Marley's support because he was so popular, And so he was going to do a concert, and it was perceived that concert was in support of one of the 2 candidates. And all of a sudden, the shooting took place, and so they said, well, it was that other group. Well, then that other group said, well, yeah, no, we think it was the other group because all they did was wound them. They didn't kill anybody. They're trying to get sympathy so they can win, So anyway, the whole thing was a little bit crazy. And they say that nobody was ever arrested for that, but some of the people were recognized that were there doing the shooting. And they say there was probably a little bit of Jamaican justice that happened after the fact, Music Sanctuary. I don't think Bob would be happy with the quality of his records being put out by Island Records. They did a lot of his records. His box sets redo had nothing but issues with the pressing quality. Well, thank you very much for sharing that. We appreciate that. Okay, so in 1963, Marley, along with his childhood friend Benny Walker, born Neville Livingston, and Peter Tosh, another famous Jamaican musician, formed the band The Wailers, and released their first body of work the following year. Okay, let's see. Get this chat moving here a little bit. Dusty saw Ziggy once live. I saw him too. I saw him at the Pozo Saloon about 35 minutes from home. He brought his mother on stage. Oh, he brought Rita on stage, some of his brothers and sisters. Yeah, I didn't see any of them. We have my father's blood pumping through our veins. I swear, Royce, the stage was filled with kids. It looked like an elementary school, all six grades, didn't it? That's pretty damn funny. Okay, so they got their first break, and we were just talking about this, about the poor quality of the pressings by Island Records, but they got their first break in 1972 when they were signed to Island Records. The band's name would would later change to Bob Marley and the Wailers, not just the Wailers, which included Bob Marley, but
Mhm.
he got top billing on it, so he was the real draw. Bob Marley's son Ziggy penned a sweet letter to the reggae star on what would have been his 79th birthday. Okay, well, he died, like I said already, at the age of 36 in 1981. It's been
Oh.
nearly 43 years. I have to read some of this. It's been nearly 43 years since the world lost reggae pioneer Bob Marley, and on Tuesday he would have celebrated his 79th birthday. Though Marley died young, he left behind a lasting legacy that includes not only his prolific music catalog, but a prolific family. That's not okay. Dedicated to preserving his memory and carrying on his message of love and unity. And that's what Bob Marley was all about. His message was love. I mean, he sang some songs that weren't as happy-go-lucky, because some of them had to do with slavery and the way people were treated and things like that. But he still did it in a way that he wasn't angry. He was telling a story, just like Buffalo Soldier. They were recruited to go help kill Indians. Way back when they were called Buffalo Soldiers. They went out helping push the Indians off their reservations that they'd already been pushed onto, and just that's what a Buffalo Soldier was. Okay, so anyway, the Wailers got the okay. Let's see. Marley's eldest son, Ziggy, who's 55, is a musician like his father, and I've seen him. Dusty Spins just said that he saw him too. Okay, and Ziggy is an 8 times Grammy winner. That's pretty impressive. He was really good. He basically sang Bob Marley songs when I saw him, but he was just really, really good. Okay, so Ziggy and his mother, Rita, and sister Cedella are all producers of the new film Bob Marley, One Love, a biopic starring British actor. We talked about that already. Ziggy says of his father, they will see sides in One Love, and they will connect with those sides. In an essay for People published in this week's issue of People magazine, Ziggy remembers his dad as a playful presence whose spirituality and discipline inspired his family to this day, continues to inspire the family. I miss everything about you, Ziggy wrote, but mainly your presence. I listen to you. Your songs are always playing. When I go to my mother's, Rita's house, music is on. Bob is on. Music is always around. Okay. You were so young, but you did more than me could ever do. And the movie is another way for you to give even more. Kingsley brings out a strong emotional side of you that people don't normally see. There's moments where we're like, yeah, that's just like Daddy. You would laugh. One of those proud laughs, though. I admired your discipline. I got that from you, and on the seriousness that you took with the music, the art. It was really inspiring, Ziggy wrote. Bob Marley's son, Ziggy, shares the last thing the singer ever told him and why he vows to live by it. Okay, hold on. Let me scroll down a little bit here in the chat. See if I can keep from getting too far behind. Music Sanctuary. Hi, Dusty. Okay. Hey, folks, this is a good opportunity for me to ask all of you to hit that thumbs up button, the like button. And the reason for that is if you get enough of those, they all help. But if you get enough, when people start searching for something to watch, more people watch my show by they're doing a search for something. And if they can match my content to that search, if people are showing that they like it by hitting that thumbs up button, then they will put my show in front of people. Doesn't mean they're going to watch it, but they'll put my show in front of people along with some others and give an opportunity to watch it. And my analytics tell me that for every one subscriber I have that watches the show, I have 2 non-subscribers that watch the show. And I don't think that's unusual. Michael Nolan says about the same thing. Sometimes it's 50-50. Sometimes the non-subscribers are much higher. And that's okay. Please, if you're a non-subscriber, keep watching my show. We love you all. But if you don't mind, it doesn't cost anything to subscribe. I'm about 18 subscribers short of my, first milestone of 1,000. It went up and then it dropped back down a few. I don't know why people come and go, but they do. You'll go up 2 or 3, then drop down 2, then go up 4 and drop down 2 again. So anyway, it's kind of a pitched battle, but we'd like to hit that first 1,000. It gets us recognized by the YouTube algorithm, gets us recognized by just YouTube and Google searches, and you have more opportunity to continue growing once you hit that first 1,000 and you're invited into the YouTube partnership program, it's called. And then they help you a lot more to build your show. So anyway, please, if you're a non-subscriber, doesn't cost a dime, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you'll be sure to get notified before the next show starts. We have multiple playlists. This is my live podcast I do every Sunday, always music-based. I also have another music-based show called Up Close and Personal, where I'll do my shorter pre-recorded videos. You'll find things like the Lost Jam session with Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin. You'll find all kinds of shows, even my last Bob Marley show, only 10 minutes long, the night Bob Marley got shot. There's all kinds of really interesting content there. We've got tours of famous places as a playlist, why we love the Central Coast as a playlist. And of course, as a contractor, I'm always doing some construction videos showing how to do certain things. And some of those are really big shows. I mean, some of those, my biggest show view-wise is how to build a patio cover the right way. It's got over 12,000 views. And every time it rains, another show, why tile roofs leak in valleys and how to fix them, locate and fix those leaks. I must get 1,000 views every time it rains, So it's not just music, although I'm having the most fun with music. There are other things to look at that you might enjoy, especially the tours. We go tour Clint Eastwood's ranch, Mission Ranch. Then we go down to the Hog Breath Inn that Clint Eastwood owned for 27 years and go inside and have a fun time with the staff and the other patrons. We just do a lot of fun stuff like that. We've done Haight-Ashbury, the Summer of Love, 1967 in Haight-Ashbury. We go all over the place and make these travel videos. So anyway, they're all on there. Take a look.
I checked out your real estate channel too. That house you took a tour on.
Yes, yes.
That's a nice house, Boy, oh boy,
it
nice
is a
area
nice house.
Too.
I showed that house
area.
5 times this week, and we're showing it this past week, and we're
Beautiful
showing it again tomorrow, and we showed it yesterday. Yeah, no, it's a beautiful area. It's the West Hills of Atascadero. It's
nice
only
creek
11 miles.
Yeah.
Yes, seasonal.
Yeah.
It's only 11 miles from the ocean as the crow flies. So we get a great I live in the same neighborhood. We get a great microclimate. It's cooler in the summer. It's warmer here in the winter. We don't get near as much freezing as they get downtown. So I checked it all out before I moved here. Even though we're out in the country, we're still in the city limits, still have city water, have natural gas. A lot of the small acreage subdivisions, you're stuck on propane, and you have to have a well. $40,000 plus maintenance. Anyway, so let's move on with the show here. Okay, so this is a bad place to get distracted. This is Ziggy Marley's. The last thing he said. He told People Magazine. He's talking about his father here. I miss everything about you, but mainly your presence. I listen to you. Your songs are always playing. Actually, read this part already. When I go to my mother Rita's house, music is always on. Bob is always around. You were so young, but you did more than me could ever do. I love the Jamaican language, more than me could ever do. And the movie is another way for you to give even more. Kingsley brings out the strong emotional side of you that people don't normally see. I think that's totally. I can't wait to see this movie. Seriously, there's moments when we're like, "Yeah, that's just like Daddy." You would laugh, but one of those proud laughs. I admired your discipline. I got that from you, and the seriousness that you took with your music, the art. It was really inspiring. But Bob Marley's son Ziggy shares the last thing the singer told him. Which he vows to live by, okay? And this is what Bob Marley told to his son, Ziggy. We're spiritual people. Everything we do is part of the whole. It's like we're a part of you and you're a part of us. It's one. We speak with our love, and it's not words. We don't have to talk much. We can just feel. Okay. My smile is honoring you. I laugh, and it looks like your laugh. Pieces of you are a part of me. You would have loved being a grandpa. Ziggy is a dad to 7 children. I see a little bit of something of you in them, Ziggy says to his dad. Every now and then, it's lovely to see. It's joyful. The grandkids get a piece of you through us. Everything we do is connected to you. I think that's an
Yeah,
awesome
very
thing,
nice.
an
Yeah, very
awesome thing
nice.
for Ziggy to write.
Hmm.
I really do. And yeah, I mean, I can relate to all this stuff. Like I said, I lost my father at 56. Started out, with cancer at 49, gone at 56. And when I was like in my 20s and that happened, I thought, wow, 56. I mean, that's not, that's is that a ripe old age?
That's
Well, no, that's not a ripe old
that's young
age.
still.
When I hit 56, it really hit me how
Mm.
young he was when he passed. And I thought, I thought you might like this, uh, Johnny L, only because, you bought that beautiful Led Zeppelin compilation, The Mothership, and I have the same
Mm.
one.
I love it.
Both,
I
both
love
on
it.
both. I know you do. I can tell. It's just a great album, and I have it both on CD and in the box set on vinyl. But if you ever want to, if you don't have any Bob Marley and you want to get some, this is a fantastic album. Okay, this is Bob Marley, and it says 30th anniversary.
Mm.
Bob Marley. And this is Bob Marley Legends, which is a compilation. Okay. Just like the Mothership is a compilation. Got the songs on the back. It tells a little bit about them. Got a gatefold here.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a nice gatefold, but you
Mm.
know what? Nicest thing about this is the songs, of course.
Hmm.
But the second nicest thing is the
Wow.
Rasta colored
Nice. Yeah.
vinyl,
Yeah.
and this is still available. It wasn't just the 60th anniversary, but check out this
Huh.
beautiful translucent Rasta colored
Nice.
vinyl.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is just. I mean, it's a great, and it sounds good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a great album. So anybody looking to get started owning some Bob Marley music, I would highly recommend this album, Legends. And I know Chris Elliott. Now you've got this in a CD, don't you? You have it in vinyl as well, or
No, no, I don't. I have to actually
okay?
admit that I don't have any vinyl at all, to be honest with you. So,
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, I think you said that before. Yeah, yeah. I've got a lot of both. I think I have maybe. I'm probably pushing 300 albums, but ever since somebody gave me that 100 and you can see it off of this shoulder. No, this shoulder.
yeah,
Back in the corner. I can't even turn the right way. Ever since somebody gave me 160 CDs, which included like 5 or 6 Bob Marleys, 5 Pink Floyds,
Yeah.
Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix. I mean, just so many. I mean, there was a few things that I actually took the tapes out and used the covers, but but I would say 95% of it is stuff that I would have owned, maybe I have owned, and maybe I already owned. I mean, it was Ozzy Osbourne, the reunion tour, 2 CD set. There was No More Tears, which was one of my favorite Ozzy, standalones, solo, and just so much great stuff there. So I've got a lot of CDs. I probably got, I'm going to say maybe 225 CDs in boxes, but then I got 3 little, packages of stuff you take on the road with you with CDs in it
Mm.
too. So
So
I don't know.
that
I
Bob
mean,
Marley, that
go
Bob
ahead.
Marley album that you just showed, does that
Yeah.
has one love, all the hits, or
Well,
what's
well,
that?
you know
What's that
what?
have on
You
there?
know what? Why don't I?
yeah,
Why don't
it's the
I
greatest
just?
hits, Johnny.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, okay.
yeah, it's greatest hits. It starts out with "Is This Love,"
Okay.
and then you get "No Woman, No Cry,"
Hmm.
uh, "Could You Be Loved," "Three Little Birds," my favorite, "Buffalo Soldier,"
Hmm.
and I have a story why that's my favorite. But "Get Up, Stand Up," "Stir It Up,"
Like
"Little Darling,"
excellent songs.
Easy Skanking,
Yeah.
uh, "One Love," One Love, the name of the biopic that's coming up, and yeah, that's a really good song. I Shot the Sheriff, Waiting in Vain, Redemption Song, Satisfy My Soul, Exodus. That's a great song too. And so is Jammin'. I really want to
I'm
jam with
jamming.
you. Jammin'.
Yeah.
And Punky Reggae Party. And I told you, Bob Marley went to England when punk was big and wound up doing some, hybrid, reggae punk mixes while he was there. Yeah. And this happens to be one of them. Funky Reggae Party. Okay. So yeah, this is I would highly recommend this. It's got great stuff on it.
He
Vinyl's great to look at.
He really influenced a lot of
people.
A lot of artists, Clapton, Paul Simon, Stevie Wonder, all the big guys, the big names, right?
Yeah, he influenced a lot of people. Reggae music is so unique to the world, and I really enjoy it. It's a happy sound,
Yeah,
and we have so much fun. We've had so much fun working on the construction site, listening to the reggae music. We'd actually substitute one another's names, for in the lyrics, and it got to the point where you could say 2 words and everybody on the crew would start laughing because they knew what was coming next. But I mean, that's how much fun we had with reggae music. I heard that Ziggy played guitar. Yes, he does. Yeah. Okay. His son, Damien, has pretty impressive career also. More modern urban sounding, though. Okay. Thank you for that. Yeah. See, I'm just way behind here on the chat. And Ziggy Marley's a great artist. It's too bad he can't shake his father's coattails for his own independence. Well, you're basically right about that. Like I said, when I saw him in concert, I recognized every song, as being a song from his father. And boy, I'm just so far behind here. Really, Dusty? I didn't nay. Did not know. Did not nay. Okay, not. She had 6 kids with him. Marley's for days. Yes, Marley's for days. Dr. Rick, hi, Kate. Hi, Caitlin. Our own Caitlin Stoddard, as I call her. We go back a long ways, along with Jeff Davidson, Daddy Boggs. We all go back to an earlier show where we competed with our vinyl albums and would win vinyl. And Caitlin's got her own show. I recommend everybody check her out. She goes twice a week. Very entertaining. Kate's a journalist. She gets hired to go write up concerts in venues. And so she's very knowledgeable. She's really, really knowledgeable. Caitlin's Magical Corner is the name of her show. She goes on twice a week. Dr. Rick, hello, how are you? Okay. In fact, Dusty. Okay, I remember going to watch the Jennifer Aniston movie Marley. It wasn't about Bob at all. It was about a dog. The dog didn't make it, by the way. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. My last 2 dogs are getting old, and I think about that every day. I'm so close to them.
Yeah,
they drive me crazy.
The same way. Our dog's the same way. Maggie, she's 16. She's got blonde. I think she got like cataracts now, and she can't hold it. She has a hard time holding her bladder now sometimes. So we have to take her off the couch because we don't want her to jump off the couch too much because of her bones.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Put her on the floor and let her out really fast because.
Right. When my daughter moved back home, we were up to 5 little dogs in the house, and it was just completely out of control. We really only had 2 dogs, and then we wound up kind of rescuing 2. People didn't want them anymore, and they were brother and sister Yorkies, and the little one was only 5 pounds, and the bigger one, Frankie. What a great dog they both were, but Frankie died suddenly at 8 years old of an enlarged heart, and boy, that was so heartbreaking. He was my buddy.
They're like family.
Now, usually my Moe, my little Yorkie, is up here on her bed. She all day long she runs down the hall to the entry hall and looks at my office and looks at me and says, "When do I get to go to bed on your desk?" And yeah, we've been taking them for a lot more rides lately because they love doing it. So anyway, yeah, so we're down to just the two dogs. And well, Honey's 16, 17, does really good, full of energy and stuff, but you can tell, she's slowing down, or her hips are starting to sag a little bit, walks a little funny.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Monroe's older than we thought too. I think she's around 12 or 13 now. So anyway, let's see. So I want to read through my top 20 Bob Marley songs. And as I've already mentioned, I love Buffalo Soldier, Buffalo Soldier, Dreadlock Rasta. Like I said, we substitute each other's names into these words. It's all you can do to keep from falling over you or laughing so hard. It just gets silly out there, So Buffalo Soldier is a great song. Of course, I Shot the Sheriff. I love that song. And Clapton did his cover of it a year after Bob Marley came out with it, and it really elevated the whole reggae genre when Clapton came out and did that, because he was so well known. And so it really gave that genre a shot in the arm, and especially Bob Marley and the Wailers got a shot in the arm. Okay, then after I Shot the Sheriff, I like Jammin'. I really wanna jam it with you. Anyway, I think that's a great song. It's just so catchy, You hear it once, you never forget it. And then, of course, One Love, the name of the biopic. That's a great song too. Redemption Song, I really enjoy that song. Words of Redemption Song. Steer It Up, little darling, steer it up. Exodus. I mean, these songs are all so familiar. I just like them all so much, It's hard to even rank them. You get halfway down, it's like, oh shit, that should have been way up, And you just have to run with it. I'm sure if I ranked the 20 again without looking at this one, it would be different, I mean, I don't mean like the top 2 or 3 or 4, but once you get past 5 or 6, it's like, wow, should this be 9 or should that go back up to 6? Should it, it's hard because they're all good, and there's so many of them that are equal, So after Exodus, I listed as number 8, No Woman, No Cry. My doggy Cookie is around 15, says Groovy Lisa. Okay, all right. So after No Woman, No Cry, number 9, I listed Could You Be Loved? And that was released in 80. I was going to read off the year they were released too. Number 10, 1978, Is This Love? But you see this theme going through here of love and stuff like that. One Love, Is This Love? Could You Be Loved? I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's happy music. It really is.
Let's make love. Yeah.
There's some serious topics, but it's still happy music.
Something I hear all the time is no love for you. Especially when I don't do my chores.
Right. Oh my God. If it was chore based, forget about it. Okay, so then I've got 1977, Turn Your Lights Down Low. 1971, number 12, Sun is Shining. 1973, number 13, Get Up, Stand Up, Get Up, Stand Up. 1978, Roots Rock Reggae. And Roots Rock Reggae was his most popular song. It was just a biggie for him. 1970, number 15, Soul Rebel. 1978, number 16, Satisfy My Soul. 1977, number 17, Three Little Birds. 1977 again, number 18, Punky Reggae Party. So I was telling you about it. It was like he was in the UK when punk became big, and he wound up, mixing some punk and fusing some punk and reggae together, some songs that he did. And this is one of them, Punky Reggae Party. 1977, number 19, Natural Mystic. 1976, last but not least, number 20, Positive Vibration. That sounds like a Beach Boys song, doesn't it?
Yeah, good vibration.
Good vibration, yeah. So anyway, that's my personal ranking, and you know, I put a poll up. I put a poll up in the community tab, and I listed. You can only list 5 songs, but I listed 5 that I thought might be pretty well loved, and stated that if one of the check on the one that's your favorite. If you don't have a favorite showing, just write in your favorite. You know, I'd like to know what everybody else is thinking, and so you guys could look at that on the community tab. I think I had something on Michael Nolan's on there too. So let's see. Cool, James, I never noticed that. Okay. Have to watch this video again. Good. Please watch it again. All right. So anybody got any comment they want to throw out, you know, in the chat, or Johnny, Chris, you guys?
I'd like to say, like, the songs that you just named, it seems like they're all hits, really. Like they're all really good. That's just amazing. You know,
yeah, I would say the majority of them. It is hard to pick.
Jesus,
I would say the majority of them wound up on this greatest hits I was just talking about. Hey, I want everybody to know we've just been joined by Deadwax66, my friend Randy, and Randy has a great show, and he participates on a lot of other people's shows. And it's always good to see Randy come in. I make it whenever I see that he's got something coming up. I just want to do one thing here, Randy. I put up a link if you're interested. Pop in and say hi to everybody and introduce yourself, you know. Tell us what you got going on your show and stuff like that. And we'd like to hear from you. Like to hear from you, Randy. Deadwax66. Very, very knowledgeable. I used to see him all the time. He'd be with Aaron, you know, on his show. And I haven't seen Aaron in a while. I don't know what's going on there. But Aaron had a great show, and he played albums from beginning to end, and maybe that's why I haven't seen him lately. But Aaron's a hell of a guy too. Aaron and Randy, these guys were tight, and they would take turns playing. You know, they'd choose 3 or 4 albums. One guy would play his, the next guy would play there. They did a lot of stuff, but it was a lot of fun to watch. Okay, so Deadwax66 says 3 Little Birds is great. Yes, it is. Where did I have that ranked? I'm sure not. Well, I had it ranked as number 17. There's just so many good songs. But yeah, that's a great song too. Okay, so boy, the chat is on fire. I could just hit the button continuously and never catch up. The chat is on fire tonight. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for, you know, getting on here, being so interactive, enjoying this. And I'll mention once again, this is not the first Bob Marley show that I've done. I think my first one might be as old as 2 years old. Well, I unboxed Bob Marley and talked about him. Back in the day, all I would do is unbox albums, anywhere from 2 or 3 to 5 or 6 or 7, you know. And I'd unbox them and discuss each album. And then I started getting into more of a show like this that I really like doing. Deadwax says he's shy.
So yeah, I checked. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I checked Amazon, and for the Bob Marley anniversary, I think it's $76 in Canada here.
Oh, set in Canada. Okay. Yeah. I don't think it's near that album. High here. Yeah, no, it's a double album. I've got like I showed you the double album and the Rasta.
We get
colors.
Killed. We get killed here in Canada on records and everything.
I tell you what, just go to like you know, Tower Records, Experience Vinyl.
We don't have Tower
some
Records.
Of those other. Okay. Go to Amazon. We have Amazon Prime.
Yeah, that's
free
what I checked.
Shipping.
Amazon.
You checked Amazon. Oh,
yeah, Amazon Canada. Yeah, it's like $76 for the double album anniversary.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we get nailed with like the delivery. Like if we were to get, like I've had 45s from old 45 stuff, etc.
Yeah.
And the delivery is more than the 45. You know, it's like we get nailed.
That sounds like the Irish whiskey I tried to buy. my son-in-law was in business with some people in Ireland. He'd actually sold a business to him. And so he went back to Ireland to meet with him. And, my daughter was married to him at the time. And he brought me back the best damn bottle of Irish whiskey I've ever had in my life. It beats all of the single malt scotches. I mean, I saved the last little bit of it for probably 2 years. I didn't want to finish it. So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to go online and buy some, And I started searching, and nobody really stocked it. You could import it. And what blew my mind was the shipping to get it here cost more per bottle than the whiskey cost. At which point I gave up.
And that's American money. Can you imagine if it was Canadian money for us? You'd have the mortgage the bloody house.
No, I think it was pounds or something, Oh,
Jesus.
Yeah. So you just get killed on that.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Wild. It's terrible.
I know it was terrible because, like I said, it was really, really good.
Well, I had some Irish alcohol, although it wasn't the whiskey. When I was 19, I went for a trip through England and Ireland to visit family.
Oh, nice.
And our first day in England, our host forgot about us in the bar. Fortunately, he introduced us to a bunch of his good friends, so they took us to their place. And the 5-hour time difference, it was the Stanley Cup Finals. So you got 3 drunken Canadian boys trying to watch the Stanley Cup Finals.
Right.
It's 1:00 in the morning there. There's one woman, she's going, "Oh, would you guys be quiet? I got to work in the morning." So we'd be quiet, and then there'd be a big play, and oh yeah. But what I was getting to is they gave us Irish moonshine. Oh my goodness, you could take paint off the wall with that stuff. Oh my goodness.
Shit.
19, I took 2 shots. I don't remember anything after that.
Wow. Hey, we've been joined by Michael Chavez. Check it out. The stereo of Exodus is better than the Atmos on Apple Music. The big drum is buried on Natural Mystic. Oh, right on. That's great information, Michael. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming in. Same to you, Terry Wachter. Thanks, guys. I gotta say, Chris, your story is bringing back some memories. Okay, I went to London maybe 4 years ago, and it was during the World Series of cricket, and it was if I got this right, it was a English Welsh team versus God, I can't think of it now, but that was such a big event. You'd go walking down the street, and there'd be hordes of people on a corner, a couple of steps up, looking over a fence where it's playing on a big TV and stuff. And the crowds were going wild. Somebody would get a hit, and it would just be pandemonium, And that was fun. But your story a little bit, when you were talking about going there and having drinks. When I went to Jamaica, I actually went to a friend's wedding. It was held in Jamaica. And she actually was a photojournalist at MTV back in New York. And I actually worked with her mother. And so we've been family friends forever. When my daughters were in dance, Andrea was in dance too. And so we've been close for a long time. And so we were invited to the wedding, me and Betty. And one night we're sitting in our bar, at our hotel. And we had a really cool bartender. He turned me on to these great Cuban cigars and stuff, best I've ever had. And we're having some drinks, and they're really good. And so the next day we're going to go into Montego Bay and check shit out. So we hop on this little shuttle. We get taken there. We get off on the bus, and he goes, "Hey, remember me?" And it was our bartender from the night before that we were hanging out with. He goes, "Hey, let me show you the real Jamaica, not the one the tourists see. Let me show you the real Jamaica." Yeah. Okay. We didn't know we were getting charged for it, but so we thought he was just our friendly bartender from the night before, but no, we get charged for it. It's all right. So he starts showing us around. He races us past these landmarks with barely a mention. Before we know it, we're entering a bar in an alley in Jamaica with all kinds of seedy shit going on in the alley, different scenes. And so we're sitting there talking, and I'm buying all his boys red striped Jamaican beer. And he leans forward and he goes, "Okay, keep my boys happy just with the red striped beer. I'll be right back." So now he leaves us. We don't even know anybody else there in this alley. And so Betty and I are sitting there, and finally our bartender comes back. He goes, "Put your hand underneath the table." I put my hands, and I just whop. And I look, and it's a huge bag of weed. He goes, "Give me $40." And I look over at my wife, and she's about to have a heart attack. She thinks we're going to spend the rest of our lives in a Jamaican jail. I go, no, I didn't want to piss her off. No, I'm going to pass. Thanks a lot, bro. He goes, "Oh, come on, man." He goes, 50 Cent was here last week. He bought a pound. Him and his boys smoked it all before they went home. I go, "Come on, man, buy this, or half of it, or and that's the way that trip was. We finally got out of there. The next day we're down on the beach, and the beach is down here, and all of these bars and restaurants are just, there's just 1,000 of them, one right after another. Each one, there was an imaginary line between each one that went all the way down to the water. And every time you crossed that line, somebody new would come racing down to the beach with a bag full of drugs. And I kid you not, it would be like, "Hey man, what do you want, man? You want some coke? You want some Viagra? You want some weed?" No, it's all good, man. Here, buy a bag of weed. No, it's all good. Well, buy a joint for $2. No, thanks, brother. We'll give a brother $2 then.
Yeah,
you guys probably heard this story, so I'll make it very brief. I finally had to use the bathroom, so I headed up to one of the bars. Should have never left my wife on the beach, but I headed up to one of the bars. Hey, wait a minute. Okay, Chari's here. Hey, how you doing, Chari? Good to see you. Been talking about Bob Marley. And right now I'm telling a couple of stories about when we were in Jamaica. And so I go up to the bathroom, and I hear these feet shuffling behind me, and I think I'm going to get rolled. Somebody's going to hit me over the head, right? Because these guys are like, I looked over my shoulder, and all I could see was their legs and feet, but they were coming fast at me. So I rushed over to the far end of the bar and put my back up against the wall. And they both walked up to me, and they're dressed in impeccable suits, both of them very tall. And one looked at the other. One pulls out a bag. He unties it. It's a bag. It's an 8-ball of cocaine. Okay. Oh, boy. And the guy goes, "You want to buy an 8-ball?" I'm like, no, thank you. So there's two guys are like standing right in my face, So one of them pulls out a big knife. The other one opens the bag. He dips it in there and gets cocaine up along the edge of it. And he's holding it up underneath my nose. "It's good. Go ahead and try it." So I got this knife that big, right? Like 3 inches from my throat, right? Anyway, so that's Jamaica, they didn't do anything. And but everywhere you went, my wife stumbled and skinned her knee. We were walking through town, and somebody goes, "Oh, you need to see Aunt Mary." And so they take her to see Aunt Mary. And there, and I tell you, I don't think I ever met anybody in Jamaica that wasn't selling drugs or didn't have it available around the corner. They weren't all walking around with the bag in their hand.
Thing is, Aunt Mary had a beard and 7 foot tall.
But anyway, it was truly a fun vacation. We're staying at these villas, and some of the villas had walls made of curtains. They're elevated up high. The villas are kind of going up a hill, and beautiful views of the ocean, and big, heavy duty curtains. They would close them at night, but then in the morning they'd all slide them all open. So it was like kind of like one end of your house had no walls. The curtains are slid back, and it was spectacular. If you were staying in the villas at the complex, they had like a couple of maids and stuff like that. They would come and see what you wanted for breakfast. They'd be cleaning up after you. They'd be doing everything, So it was a cool vacation. Went snorkeling and things like that. Went out on the boat and just hung around. It's a party place. Jimmy Buffett had a big Margaritaville there with a gigantic slide that went down into the ocean. We went in there and had some margaritas. And it's a fun place to visit. I would go back. I haven't, but I would.
I'm sure it's a nice place, but I don't know if I'd feel comfortable going really.
Yeah, no, and you hear things like that, but I hear those same things about Mexico. I used to drive too, yeah. I used to drive. Well, they've got all the cartels and stuff down there, and even the places that you think you might want to go visit sometime, you hear about some violence happening there and stuff. But I used to drive down to Mexico to go surfing. me and some friends, and we drive down to these surf camps, you know, and one of them had a hostel where you could rent a room in the hostel, you know, and a big library of music that you could listen to and things like that. But anyway, we drive down there and go surfing, and there's so many adventures. You know, we had such a great time doing that. We might drive into town and buy 60 or 70 cent tacos. We pass through Ensenada. We go to the fish market. You go back in the back and you walk past all these huge slabs, you know, blue marlin and stuff out there for sale. You walk around the back and it's like kind of a make your own fish taco bar, you know. And they're like 60 cents. They're 60 cents each, you know, like the best fish tacos you ever had in your life for 60 cents a piece.
Yeah.
You know?
We just a short thing. We when I first married my wife, we decided to go on a trip to Puerto Vallarta. My wife, my mother-in-law, and myself. We went there and everything. Right. I rented a Jeep for the whole time we were there. So I decided, with my great wisdom, let's go for a drive in the hills.
Right.
And you know, on the side of the road, there's nothing. So you just look down and there's no rails, nothing. So my mother-in-law is sitting in the back going, "Oh, John, let's go back. Let's go back." So I said, no, we'll go. So my idea was to drive through the hills and then take a road and go to Acapulco. Just drive there, because I don't think it was that far really, but I was going to drive there. So I ended up driving along the dirt road and going up and towards Acapulco, and there were like 3 or 4 guys there. I don't know whether they were the military or the police, but they had machine guns on them. And I said to my wife, I said, "Oh, this ain't fucking good." You know,
that's exactly right.
It's the first time I've ever seen that, right? So it's like,
right.
I ended up just pulling up, and you know, I tried to be nice. "Hi, how are you? You know, right. Where's Acapulco? That way, okay." And then he showed me.
They know you're guilty when you act like that.
He showed me the way. He said, "Yeah, you can go up to there, right?" So I thought to myself, "Nah, I don't think I'll go through that area." So I ended up, "Okay, thank you." I turned around. I said, "My wife, we're fucking going back to Puerto Vallarta. Forget this."
Hey, I have totally been there, Johnny. We drive, like I said, we go down to Mexico to go surfing, and there would be 2 or 3 there'd be toll bridges, but then there'd be these checkpoints, and it was all these federales. They were all like, you know, 5'2", and they all had machine guns strapped on. And I remember one time they'd look at you real close, they'd stop and, you know, maybe try to ask you a couple of questions. And, you know, they were kind of searching our car one time, and they found these pills, and they go, you know, "What are these?" You know, and my wife, like, it's for my tummy. I have a tummy ache. And they're like, "Oh, okay." Gave them back to her. And, but yeah, no, it's a little scary, you know, when the stories you hear when you pull up and there's a half a dozen guys standing there with submachine guns.
Because, you know, we don't see that much in Canada, right? With carrying machine and so it's like, oh crap, you know, like, I don't want to end up in a friggin' Mexican prison.
Right. Well, that's right. You get caught carrying with caught carrying with the gun. You get caught carrying a gun, you go to prison.
I tell you, they're corrupt.
Yeah, I love this comment of Randy's Deadwack 66. Totally, you know, echoes what I said about my trip to Jamaica. Everyone there is a drug dealer. I love that. Dan Goucher. Hey, good evening, Dan. Good to see you, brother.
I was all ready for what to say, though. They were going to take me, and I was going to say, "Take my mother-in-law."
Well, you know, I went down with my next door neighbor who got me into surfing years ago, and all his friends from San Francisco, from the city, came down. They were all watermen. They all sailed and dove and free dove and fished and surfed and did everything you could do in the water. And so they all come down, and we all drive down to Mexico together. Well, one of them didn't know what the hell he was doing. He brought a shotgun with him.
Oh, shit.
And so I was going to leave early, and they were going to go on down to the Seven Sisters down through Baja at these different surf breaks and check them out. And my next door neighbor, Pete, these are all his old buddies that he's known forever, goes, hey Royce, man, we don't need this shotgun with us. Will you take it back with you? And I said, fuck no. I didn't bring it here, and I'm not taking it back. And last thing I want to do is go to prison because I'm riding around with a shotgun in Mexico. It's like, you guys deal with it.
Oh God, yeah. I wouldn't do that. Yeah.
What the fuck? What are you trying to drag me into this shit for? I mean, I've got a safe full of guns. I didn't bring one to Mexico with me. I know better.
Yeah. Yeah,
but yeah, no, we had a lot of fun in Mexico though, man. You go down there and You know, you go in northern. I spent a lot of time in the Baja area because of the surfing, all kinds of surf breaks and stuff. And you know, and they're all full of like Americans and American college students. You know, they're all hanging out down there surfing and everything. And there's a lot of stories, but it never failed to be fun and entertaining. Let me tell you, never really had any trouble down there. You didn't know who to trust. I mean, my next door neighbor that got me into surfing, the one I was just telling you about, we all went down there surfing together with his friends from the city. He was a huge pot smoker. In fact, all his friends, they're all cops and firemen, and every single one of them smoked weed. So anyway, Pete said I needed to sleep, right? And well, my wife takes gummies to sleep. I get it, and I take them sometimes too. But Pete got down there. We got out at Cuatro Casas. And the first local he saw, he runs over there going, "Can you get me some?" And the guy goes, "Yeah." So Pete gave him $20, and the guy disappeared. Came back a few hours later with a bag of weed. Pete, be careful who you trust. You know, I mean,
well,
there's always some weird kind of stuff that you wonder what's going on, but. I was hanging there for a bit too, laughing out loud. So anyway, what's the worst thing that happened to me down there? Well, actually, nothing. You know, we'd be at these surf camps, and a fisherman would pull in with an old Nissan pickup or something, and the bed was full of fish and lobster. I got pictures of me holding lobster. I have to back up to show you how big they were. And they were between $4 and $6 depending on size. And we got down there. The first thing we'd do is buy a bunch of lobster. We'd have salsa, tortillas, a bunch of good Mexican beer. And I tell you, the Mexican beer is great. Even like the cheapest brand, Tecate, is still just about better than anything you buy here. But there is no bad Mexican beer. It's all good. So we'd sit there for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It'd be a full lobster tail, with some butter on the tortilla. Put the lobster on it, pour salsa across it, wrap it the best you could. It was so big it didn't even fit hardly in there. And that would be breakfast, a giant lobster tail. Guess what was for lunch? Another giant lobster tail. So, I mean, how do you not want to go back and do that again, you know? I mean,
you mentioned their beer being good and better than yours.
Right.
I remember, though, a lot of Americans wanting to buy our beer because it's way stronger than your beer.
Still is.
Right?
Yeah, that's true. So, that's true, especially all these microbreweries, you know. They're making stuff all the way up to, I don't know, like 9%, I think, alcohol content, you know. Pacifico beer rules. Yes, it does. I love Pacifico beer. I buy Pacifico, Corona. It used to be always Corona, then it was Pacifico, and then I also always liked when I was working down in Guadalupe, helping farm workers build their own homes. It was my job to teach them how to build their homes. The beer of choice down there was Dos Equis Amber. Dos Equis Amber, and I really got into that. Dos Equis Amber is a great beer as well, and so I like all of them actually. Lately, I've been really into, let's see, what is that? Damn it. Something Negro, but it's really good. It's, help me out here, chat. Somebody knows what it is?
Jeez.
Negro just means it's dark, but it's, they make it light and dark. I can't think of the name of it right now. Let's see. My number one beer is Bud Light. Has itself destructed as a Mexican beer, I believe. Yeah, I was a big Bud Light fan, and Bud used to own it. They had all those commercials with all the young people on the beach, girls in bikinis, everybody drenching in sun and playing volleyball and stuff. And those were the Bud Light commercials, and it was just they were perfect for the times. And Bud Light had to have been the biggest seller in those days. And I don't know what happened. I think they just shot themselves in the foot or something.
Oh, big
time. It's still good. I hadn't drank Coors since I was a teenager. But I started drinking the Coors Silver Bullets, the ones where the can turns bluer as it gets colder, so when it's just right.
We had Brador here at one time. It was like 7% alcohol or some stupid thing like that. It was like ridiculous.
The one I was thinking of was Modelo Negro. That's a really good beer too. But you know what? I like them all now. I mean, all the Mexican beers are great. You know, for local beer, I would usually drink. You know, I seem to be buying more Coors Light with the mountains that turn dark blue than anything else when it comes to domestic beer. Although Bud Light's still good. Bud Light's a good beer. And, you know, I used to, you know, back in the day when you're younger and you're experimenting, you're trying Schlitz, you're trying Pabst Blue Ribbon beer, you're trying, you know, Michelob and Miller and, you know, and then all the light beers, even one called light beer. You know, experimenting with all that stuff, you know, seeing what you like. I have a sister-in-law that always bought the very cheapest beer because she drank so much, and so did all her friends. It would always be the bargain basement, half the price of anything else. It was just the horriblest beer I've ever had.
The one that rips your throat up.
Yeah. You're drinking. Oh, I mean, absolutely terrible, you know. But anymore, if it's not Coors Light, I'm pretty much buying the Mexican beer. But I will say this: I was 18 years old. I was too young to work around alcohol. My father got me a fake birth certificate that said I was 21. I was 18 because he was working at this massive liquor distributing company owned by the one and only Steve Wynn, who built the Mirage and Treasure Island and several others, and then got a hostile take. He went public. It was a hostile takeover, and they bought him out of his own casinos. Not the worst thing in the world. He got hundreds of millions of dollars and built the Wynn and the Encore. But he owned that liquor distributing company, 32 years old, didn't own any casinos back then, didn't own any casinos. So I got to go to work for Steve Wynn. He came to work every day himself. I worked the night shift. There was just two of us setting up all the orders for the truck drivers to load on their trucks the next day and take. I was 18 years old, and you were allowed to drink beer while you worked. And the only beer, they were a big liquor distributing company, but the only beer they had was Pabst Blue Ribbon beer. Something that I'd never really liked, but and believe me, by 18 I drank them all. But this fresh Pabst Blue Ribbon in that warehouse, oh my God, it was good. You know, so you'd be sitting there on the order desk, you know, getting ready to go get some other stuff and stage it. And you always had an open can of beer, and nobody cared. Everybody was cool with it.
Yeah,
it's my buddy Bill K. Johnny. Your buddy too now, yes, but you keep hearing me talk about this other show we were on where we used to compete with our vinyl. Bill K was there, Daddy Boggs was there, Caitlin was there, Jeff Davidson was there. There's a big group of us that are still circulating on these shows and even having our own shows now that we all were together on that one show, you know. So anyway, Pabst Blue Ribbon beer. Okay, so I'm working for Steve Wynn. Steve Wynn and his best friend, his sales manager, who would get on the phone and speak Italian to people in Italy, ordering wine and stuff. Larry Ruvo was his name. Him and Steve Wynn raced dirt bikes. So they had a bunch of them in the warehouse. Steve Wynn also had this 750 Honda Chopper with a really long extended Springer front end. I was a Harley guy at the time, so it was kind of funny, but it was a cool bike. Don't get me wrong. And he had a classic car in there and stuff. But every night I would get on his dirt bikes and I would ride through the warehouse. And I mean, not just ride through the warehouse, but I'm talking about on one wheel most of the time, or I'm doing roadies and I'm just tearing that place up, you know. So one day I didn't even realize just how bad the floors looked. They were black from my tire marks on his bike. So one day I'm still there working, and Steve Wynn comes in and he goes, "Hey Royce, come here a minute." And I walk over. "Yeah, Steve, what's up?" He goes, "You know, I really don't mind you riding my bikes at night." I never asked permission. I just rode them. Thought nobody would know, right? warehouse floors all black. He goes, "But yeah, I really don't. As long as it's on your break or lunchtime." I go, oh yeah, I wouldn't do it any other time, Steve. And he goes, "But do you have to do that to the floors?" And he points, and I look there. I mean, I was in shock. For some reason, I was oblivious to the mess I was making on the floors in there.
Jeez. You were a rebel back then.
Yeah, pretty much. As much as I could. You know, so that was kind of fun working for him, you know. My downfall was 10 months of partying with my friends, them all going home and going to bed, and me going to work the night shift at that warehouse. You know, it finally ended, you know. But anyway, that was okay. I was in the Teamsters Union by then. I went to work at another place. It was actually the Coca-Cola plant in Las Vegas, and saved enough money. Once I got $400, I was heading for California. That's all I needed to move to California, $400, you know. And so I took off. Told that story before too, so I don't want to tell it again. But anyway, so it's been a fun stream tonight, you know. And thank you guys all for coming in. Michael Chavez, Chris Elliott, my Johnny L, Caitlin. Good to see Bill K pop in and say hi. We're old friends from way back. And,
you know, you're lucky. You're lucky that you have California to go fall back on, a nice warm place. The warmest place we have is like Vancouver in the winter.
Wow.
That's about it, basically.
Oh man, when it gets 60, when it gets 62 here, I'm freezing. I start layering my clothes in the house.
You wouldn't do too well here.
At 62 degrees. It's not
reality. We can't complain too much here, eh, Johnny?
No, it's been pretty good this year.
Well, you know,
more than I do. So
I'm 11 miles from the ocean, and the whole California coast has an average temperature of 70 degrees.
God.
You know, 70 degrees in the summer, okay, summer, spring, fall, but in the winter it can get down. You know, it can get down to the high 50s. You know? It's been pretty good this year though so far in St. Thomas anyways. But snow, like we only got like a couple snowfalls, I think, but it just went away, and we had like 11 a couple days ago Celsius. Oh, no kidding.
11 Celsius, so which is unusual. Now it's like around 2, which is not bad actually this year. But
wow,
you know, we're still not out of the woods. You know, we have February to go through in March and
right
and April.
Well, we've just been hit by these, you know, tsunamis, you know, of rain. It's just been, oh man. Hey Bill, I imagine you got the rain you got hit by the rain pretty good up there too, didn't you? I wish I was back down in the desert, Royce. I miss Palm Desert. Oh yeah. Yeah, that high desert's pretty cool. We've spent some time over there. I've got a friend. Well, I've got his house listed for sale, and he's got a place over there in the high desert. He spends most of his time in his house in La Paz, Mexico. His wife grew up in Mexico, and so they've got a house in La Paz, Mexico that I've actually been to when we were down there fishing in the Sea of Cortez. I built a big commercial building for a guy that I knew, and with apartments behind it. And he says to me, you know, Royce, if we're still friends when this was all over, you know, because it was like a $1.5 million job and many years ago. He goes, if we're still friends when this is all over with, and I don't know why he would assume anything other than that. I'm friends with everybody. I'm gonna take you fishing. I thought, oh, hey, that'd be great, Stan. I'm hoping we're still friends too now. I thought he meant, you know, Verge's Landing in Morro Bay, Patriot Sport Fishing in Avila Beach, you know, both 20, 30 minutes away. Well, he calls me up one day. He goes, hey, man, what are you doing in April? I go, I don't know. Why are you asking? He goes, well, I told you I was going to take you fishing if we're still friends, which we are. He goes, I'm going to take you to the Sea of Cortez, Mexico, to go fishing for marlin, shellfish, and that kind of stuff. So the next thing I knew, we were on our way to the Sea of Cortez. And I was the first on the troll. I caught the first marlin. Fred was next. He caught a big sailfish. Stan was next. He caught a marlin. And that's the way it went. We were catching fish. We had all these little flying fish flying into the water in front of us. We got into a school of dolphin that's like, I have never seen. I mean, I surf and the dolphin come in. I even had one jump over my head once while I was sitting on my board. And the dolphin come in, and they're all around you, you know, while you're surfing sometimes, especially if there's a lot of bait fish in the water, you know. And they're jumping out of the water, and then the pelicans are diving down into the water to get the bait fish. And it's just like, it's like something that's surreal, you know. You're out there on an overcast day, and the pelicans are flopping all around you. The dolphins are diving out all around. We're all just looking at each other going, wow, this is fucking crazy, man.
Did you keep them? Did you keep the marlin, or did you throw it back?
We let them go, catch and release. Yeah,
because I know some people keep it and they stuff it and put it on a wall.
Oh, I know. I was down.
They're nice fish, nice looking fish.
Yeah, yeah, they are. I was down in Cabo San Lucas. I've only been there once, but we were staying at a great resort. And so I was going fishing. I went fishing a couple of times, but the one time I went out there, I caught the biggest mahi. They're also referred to as dorado. Very beautiful, kind of iridescent colored fish. Big giant head on them. And this thing was, I could barely hold it up with a rope. I couldn't even get his tail off the ground. It was so heavy. And they wanted me to stuff it because it was so big. And I go, well, how much is that? $3,000. I'm like, what?
Oh,
what? And I'm hearing that they make a duplicate of it out of plastic. It's not even the fucking real fish. I go, no. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna stuff it. Well, we could probably get it for you for $1,500. No.
So what test of line did you have to use for the marlin? Pretty heavy, I would imagine, eh? Pretty.
You know what? Oh yeah, pretty heavy. I actually honestly don't remember. It was probably like 60-pound test, something like that.
Yeah.
Like what you'd use to go albacore fishing. We used to go out of Morro Bay every year albacore fishing. And I tell you what, hey Gary, how you doing, brother? Bill K. I used to go down to San Felipe, Royce. The water is so crystal clear there. Yeah. There's some just cool places in Mexico. I love that place. I could almost retire in Mexico, to be honest with you.
Oh, it'd be pretty cheap, pretty reasonable to get a villa there, and you'd live like a king.
Oh,
you'd have
like
to know
king,
what areas. I think you'd have to.
No, I know. Well, there's some pretty big
No.
American communities down there. You know, and everybody I've talked to or everybody I've read about their experiences living there, I just wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah.
No, you're right. Live like a absolute king just on Social Security and have a savings account.
Yeah. What's her name? The actress. She used to live in Mexico. She had a villa there with Richard Burton. She was married with Richard Burton.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. She was married to Richard Burton for a long time. What was her name?
But they when we went to Puerto Vallarta, we went on a trip. We went on a thing. They showed us around, and we went to the place where they had their villa in Puerto Vallarta.
What? Right? Some of the names.
Elizabeth Taylor, and Richard Burton.
Yeah. Some of these names of these old actors and actresses are starting to fade now.
Yeah,
I used to watch all their movies when I was a kid. My mother was a big fan of all those older, actors and actresses, and so I'd sit there with her in the summertime sometimes. So we'd sit there and just watch these old movies together. Of course, that was Henderson, Nevada. It was 118 outside, and we sit there with the noisy swamp cooler, evaporative cooler, and watch these movies.
Isn't that like a sign of us getting really old though now? Because we can't remember some of these people anymore.
Who's that
person? It's like, holy Christ. Even if you've seen their movie 2 weeks ago, it's like what?
No, I know, but like we were talking about Elizabeth Taylor, married to Richard Burton.
Yeah,
it wasn't that long ago that she was a big celebrity, and I mean, like 30 years have gone by now, but it was like you saw her like every freaking week. Huge. Yeah. And then the years roll by and she's been gone forever, and you don't think about her anymore.
Yeah. The years are rolling
beautiful.
Fast,
she was a beautiful woman in her youth.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She was in that one. She was younger in that horse movie, Black Beauty, I think it was.
Okay.
Elizabeth Taylor, I think it was Black Beauty, I think, or something.
Yeah.
And she was younger there, and then there's other movies with Paul Newman that she was in. Paul Newman, one of these older movies.
Yeah, I really miss some of these old actors and stuff. I like Steve McQueen. Steve McQueen was a great actor. I liked all those movies he played in. And
in my opinion, he's still got probably the best chase scene ever filmed.
Oh yeah.
Bullet. Bullet. And how about the motorcycle scene in the World War II flick when he the Great Escape?
Great Escape. Yeah.
Just great movies,
And Steve McQueen did all his own driving. So
Yeah, except for
yeah.
apparently the Great
Yeah,
Escape.
no, he was quite a stunt guy.
He didn't do the Great Escape one, the where the motorcycle goes over. Apparently, he didn't do that one.
No.
Wow.
He had a double doing that one, apparently, from what I read. But I know the car chases and stuff like that. He did do a lot of his stunts before.
I got a little story if I can remember it accurately. Okay, I did a show on Laurel Canyon and all the the rockers that lived up there before, most of them before anybody knew who they really were. I mean, Crosby, Stills, and Nash met and got together as a group up there, but they all partied together. There were certain houses. One of the Monkees would throw parties. Everybody loved the Monkees, and everybody wanted to be their friend. And one of the Monkees threw every party that he threw, I should say, you could only come if you were naked. So everybody that came to his house, to his parties, had not one bit of clothing on.
Jesus.
But I mean, it was crazy up there. You had the Monkees, there was a room set aside at a lodge there for Jimi Hendrix whenever he was in town. And you had Frank Zappa, Jim Morrison, oh my God, people from the Eagles. You had, I mean, the list is just insane. Like I said, Crosby, Stills, Nash, Young, Taylor. I mean, it was just such a huge group there. And they were all friends. And if you couldn't find any of them, didn't know where everybody's at, you go down to the store at the base of the hill. And if they weren't there, you'd go across to the club, and they were there, And so it was a great story. But okay, so Eric Burden's living there, right? Eric Burden of the Animals. And one day somebody zooms past where he's living on a motorcycle. He went, what the hell? He ran in and jumped on his dirt bike and took off after the guy. And they were going through the desert and everything at this point, or the wilderness, whatever it is. And he finally catches up with the guy, and it was Steve McQueen.
Oh.
And after that, Eric Burden and Steve McQueen became big friends and often took off on rides together and stuff like that.
And they had some notorious times too.
Some notorious times, right?
I tell you,
right.
Steve McQueen was a man's man. Let me tell you, like he was an alpha male for sure. He was like balls of steel. I think
I couldn't agree more.
Is the Magnificent Seven.
Yeah,
Magnificent Seven.
Cool.
What was that? Sans Pebbles was one of his last ones.
I think Cool and Luke, wasn't he? Cool and Luke.
No, that was Paul Newman. In that one.
No, that was Paul Newman. What was the one where he was in the? He was with a base. He had a baseball and a glove, and he kept on throwing it against the. It was a military war movie. Could have been The Great Escape. Could have been The Great Escape. Then
maybe it was that one. Yeah.
Because you always the ball.
It was another one I used to like was Charles Bronson. He always played a pretty cool role. He was I think for a little while he was the biggest box office draw there was. I think when he was doing the Death Wish movies and things like that.
And Steve McQueen did that was in that Western too. He was I can't remember. He had a short. It looked like a sawed-off shotgun on his waist.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember that. What the hell was that movie? It was it looked like the rifle, the rifleman's rifle.
The rifleman,
but it was sawed off.
Sawed off, yeah.
And the bullets were like huge. I can't remember the name of the show. It was like it was a Western show, I think.
Gotcha. Well, look at Bill Kay's roommate when he was in the desert. Worked for Elizabeth Taylor. Wow, that's interesting, Bill. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I like, I don't go to the movies a lot anymore. I've gone to take my grandkids to see things they wanted to see and things like that. But Peter Tork, Bill Kay says Peter Tork was the one in Laurel Canyon that you had to go to his parties nude. And everybody complied with that.
Wanted Dead or Alive. With Steve McQueen, Wanted Dead or Alive. That was the name of the Western, Wanted Dead.
Okay,
and he had that sawed off. Yeah, and it was like you had this. It was a sidearm in his holster, and he put it in. It was about this. Well, this big, half of a shotgun. It looked like the bullets were like huge.
Oh yeah, you know what? When I was a kid, it seemed like every other movie was a Western.
Yeah.
And the Sears catalog had everybody on the front cover with a gun in their hand. You know, mom and dad had guns. Mom was holding a rifle, smiling, and the kids all had guns, and everybody was just beaming. Everybody had a gun, you know.
Everybody had
and
a
it's
gun.
like, and all we did was play games with guns, you know. We were either, you know, what was that movie that was on with Ilya, whatever is the Kuryakin or something like that? It was a spy movie, you know, and that was on TV, and 007 movies were out, and of course the military. I mean, if you weren't playing cowboys and Indians, you were playing cops and robbers, or you're playing army men. And I tell you what, it was always with toy guns, you know.
Yeah.
I think the first Christmas present I really remember was a cap gun, you know. You'd put the caps in, they'd pop, and you'd smell the gunpowder.
You know, growing up in Montreal when I was a kid, the best place to play these things were construction sites where they had big sand dunes and all that.
Yeah.
And you hide behind the sand dune, and then you go, pow, pow, you're dead. No, you didn't hit me. Yes,
yeah.
Or you had these cap guns. You had the guns with the caps in them, you know.
Right. Well, I hate to admit this because I'm a contractor and I know how expensive it is to have the surveyor out to set stakes. But we used to go, you know, when we moved into our house, we finally bought a house, got out of Victory Village, which were old army barracks that they were renting to low-income people. We finally bought a little house, you know, $14,000, brand spanking new, in Henderson, Nevada. And behind us, there were no other streets. This was like, this street got built, and the previous street, it was probably 8 years ago that it was built. So like every 6 to 10 years, they'd add one street. That's how Henderson was growing, you know, like not at all. Right. And anyway, so they started building a street behind us and a street behind that. It was starting to pick up, you know. So we had a couple of places to go play where all these houses were being built. And my friends and I would go pull all the stakes out of the ground, you know, the wooden stakes with the points on them. We'd take one and cut 2 pieces off of it like that with no points on them. And we'd nail them on. They would be like you know, just above the handle to protect your hand, you know, like a sword would have. And we'd have these huge, massive sword fights, you know, and every once in a while somebody would catch us stealing stakes and they'd jump in their trucks and start chasing us and we'd go hide. But we'd have these huge sword fights. And then we started dyeing these capes purple and fashioning these helmets out of tinfoil, and we're like the Roman legion, you know. And all of a sudden, kids from the next block saw us doing this, and then the next block saw, and pretty soon every street had an army, you know. and you'd be out in the front yard playing or something, and you'd look up, and there'd be like 20 kids would come around the corner marching with swords, these wooden stakes from the construction site, and you'd scramble. Our army would assemble. And the 2 armies would go to battle, and you'd be out there sword fighting with these wooden stakes, you know. And man, we just had a ball doing that shit.
So Royce, so the Music Sanctuary, but apparently the last shot where the motorcycle runs over the fence, like he drives it over the fence.
Like a barbed wire fence or something. Yeah.
Apparently that last shot he didn't do.
Okay.
But he did the other riding the motorcycle. But that last shot apparently he didn't do.
Okay, well that makes sense. I mean, I'd always heard he did all that, but
except for that shot.
That shot, right? Right.
When it goes over the fence, they use the double.
Wow. Anyway,
it's Steve McQueen. The movie Papillon just popped in my head. You ever see that one with him and?
Yep, with Dustin Hoffman. Yeah. Very good movie. Very good movie. Yeah.
So guys, I was talking a little bit ago about how everybody had guns. The Sears catalog had mom with the rifle beaming, and all the kids had guns, and it was like a big thing. And you know, you didn't have to do anything. If you wanted to buy a gun, you just went and bought one. What happened? What has happened? Because we all grew up with guns, first toy guns, then real guns, and I still have guns, and I've had all kinds of pistols and rifles. I've had AR-15s. I only have one now. The only reason I had 2 is because young man that we built our AR-15s together. He worked for me. When he was getting married, he needed money, so he sold it to me. And I've since then sold him back some of the stuff that that he sold me.
I'll tell you what happened. Is that as we were growing up, it was fine. You know, being a kid was great. You know, there was now it's so people are so anal,
right?
So politically correct and so this and so that's why we don't see kids outside in the street playing cowboys and Indians and stuff
never.
like that. Where they used
you
to be.
never see a kid playing
you
with
don't
a
see
gun
anything
now.
like that anymore, and that's why.
No,
right?
no.
And kids aren't kids
but
anymore.
we grew up and we didn't go out and do any mass shootings.
No.
And now these kids today are growing up kind of without the guns or being able to play with guns, and they're out doing that stuff. And it's like, I just can't figure this out. I don't know what happened.
The only thing they did was switch the toy guns to the real ones, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well,
but now some of the parents are like this case here in Michigan that the mother just got charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter after the son killed 4 people in his school.
Yeah, that was just a couple of days ago. Yeah. Well, how do you guys feel about that? Should the mother be charged? Now, yes, I remember during a lot of these big political rallies, one mother dropped her son off with a gun to attend the rally, her underage son. And that was shocking. Now, if he'd have killed somebody, I would say arrest her for sure. But I don't know that some random act, kid knows where the guns are kept in the house and gets into them.
Yeah, but the parents bought him the gun. They knew he had an issue that day. It's I don't know. I'm not a judge or jury, but it definitely doesn't look good.
Right. No.
Yeah. So basically, maybe they should be held accountable. I don't know.
No. Well, they should be made an example of. But that's just
held accountable. Because you don't. If your kid has issues, if your kid has issues and you go buy them a gun, I mean that's kind of ridiculous. It's like saying, okay, I got a whole closet full of rifles in the cabinets here. Leave them open and unlocked. That's irresponsible for parents. Some parents are like that.
Well, yeah, right? That's right. So, I mean, with our Second Amendment laws and stuff, guns are just
yours is
anybody
right?
Anybody can own them. Anybody can own as many of them as they want. There are some things that are changing, and I don't really have a problem with registering my guns. It doesn't bother me in the least. I'm not trying to hide anything or do anything that I shouldn't be doing. So that doesn't really bother me. But then our governor, I actually like the governor, but he started limiting how much ammunition you could buy, and you have to buy it now through a regular gun store. And then they mark it up 20%. You used to be able to order it from places like cheaper than dirt, seriously. And because you go down to the target range, you don't just bring 20 rounds with you. I mean, you're paying to go in there and target practice, and it's indoor range. And I might take a couple of 100 rounds with me. I haven't been shooting in a long time. I grew up with guns, and when I was 14 years old, my dad bought me an old military 30-06, and bought my younger brother one too. And they would take us. He'd take us hunting every year, and my friends and stuff that we'd all get taken hunting and stuff. We had a fun time. I never thought things would get so crazy, really, with all these mass shootings and stuff. Look at the guy in Vegas. He shot up that concert, and killed a bunch of people, wounded a bunch of others and stuff. I mean, you never heard about that.
One question is, okay, you guys are allowed to have guns and whatever. That's fine. But what in the hell do you need any kind of an assault rifle at all? They're only meant for one thing, and that's a battlefield. I don't see a city as a war zone battlefield unless you're in Gaza.
No, and I'm not. I won't argue with you. A lot of people say the same thing, but the real difference is they look like a military weapon, but they're not automatic. They're no different than some of the other rifles I have that are strictly like hunting rifles. One, you pull the trigger, you shoot one bullet. You pull the trigger, you shoot one bullet. You pull the trigger, you shoot one bullet. The ones that the military use, you pull the trigger, you shoot 50 bullets. And that's the difference. And that is an assault weapon. But
but those are the weapons that are being used mostly in all these mass shootings, right? So
no, they've been used a lot in them. I agree with that.
Just get them off the street and then worry about it afterwards.
Well, it's just like in California, for example, you can only have a 10-round clip, but in most of the country, you can have a 30-round clip, something that looks like a big banana coming out of there, 30 rounds in it. You can buy drums. You can buy a drum that fastens in like a clip that either has 50, 75, 100 rounds.
Oh,
you could, most states that's legal, you know. California is not that way. You register your guns. You know that I totally agree with the wait period. You know, people get, you know, domestic fights and stuff like that. That people see red, they want to kill their significant other. They run down, buy a gun, walk out of the store with it right now, and go home and do it and kill, you know, their spouse or whoever they're arguing with, and people just flip out. But if you have a 15-day wait, you have time to cool off, and maybe you've decided, you know, life outside is better than life inside for what you were thinking of doing because you lost your head, you know. So I think I totally agree with the 15-day cooling off period. I totally agree with registering your guns. Every single one of my guns has a lock. It's got a cable that goes through the chamber that you lock, and they're in a safe that only my wife would have to hire a locksmith if anything ever happened to me. I'm the only one that can open that safe.
But, you know, criminals, like just like here in Canada, the clown we have here is Prime Minister. He's trying to ban, or he already did, and I don't know, not sure whether he managed to do it, but hunters, the rifles for hunters and stuff like that, trying to ban that and all that. And it's like, if you, what was that, Chris?
Said he's trying to cut back the assault rifles in Canada as well. But the hunting rifles and just stuff like that.
I think
it's
in the cloth. Apparently, it's hidden in the wording with that. Apparently, but you know, why, if you're a hunter and you're trained, and that's what you're going to use it for, is hunting, stuff like that. I mean, why? You know, like, just as long as you're trained and everything. And criminals aren't going to go and say, "Oh, we have to register our rifles before we go and rob a bank or kill somebody." They're not, you know. So no matter what, like, criminals are going to get the rifles or guns or whatever from anywhere. You know, no matter how much restrictions they put on this stuff, criminals are going to get them, right?
Yeah. There's a huge black market and stuff like that, especially in the big cities. You know. Right. Big cities, you know, you can get anything you want. I
mean, as long as the hunters, as long as they this is what I'm feel is, as long as the hunter is going to kill a deer or whatever for food, and not just for the sake of killing a deer or a moose for game, for a sport, and say, okay, you know, we'll cut the head off and put that as a plaque, and not for no, I don't agree with that. As long as they're going to use it for food, take the whole deer or moose or whatever, and have it butchered, you know, as long as they're going to do that, fine. But some, you know, there's always the odd one that's going to want it to use it for a sport and just for the sake of killing a deer and leave it there, right? And, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't really know anybody that would do that. I mean, I don't hunt anymore.
Sure, there's some.
I grew up hunting, so I thought that was normal. But I finally lost my appetite for killing any living thing, to be honest with you. I mean, even like, you know, I used to go bird hunting and stuff, but, you know, dove mate for life, you know. The last time I ever went hunting, I was with my young son-in-law and all his friends who were like rabid hunters. They would say, if it flies, it dies. If it crawls, it falls. And they'd always shoot like 3 times their limit. We went out to this pond out at Camp Roberts, this military base, and called Avery's Pond. And we're all set up around it. I had my golden retriever there that I'd taught to retrieve. And it was foggy when we got there. As soon as the fog cleared, they were just flying like it was nobody's business, you know. And my dog would jump in the pond and swim out there and bring them all to me. And everybody's like, "Royce, that's mine," you know. So anyway, so at the end of the day, we're standing there. We're all camoed out, you know, we got our rifles, and all the, you know, everybody had 10. There were 7 of us. There were 70 dove. So my son-in-law goes back out there the next year. He goes, "Hey, man, did you go out on opening dove day?" And I go, No. And he goes, "Well, I did." And I go, "Where'd you go?" He goes, "The same place we went last year on opening day, Avery's Pond." And I go, "Oh, how'd you do?" He goes, "There was nothing flying." And I couldn't help but think that's because you and your friends killed them all the year before. Of course, there's nothing flying. you
But I
know.
think there's
And I that was the last day I ever went hunting, you know. And I used to buy, you know, a packet of 7 wild pig tags, and I've shot several wild pig. I shot them in a vineyard, crossing between the grape lines, and
but
uh, my son. Go ahead.
you probably know this, Royce, because you hunted and all that. Isn't there very strict rules, like just like fishing? If it's off season and if you get caught, you're gonna be like up shit's creek.
Oh
You'll
yeah,
lose everything basically.
there's a season for everything, but there's also a bag limit. Like if you go up to one of the local rivers and go trout fishing, you
Mm.
can catch 5 trout. And but what a lot of guys will do, they want 5 bigger trout. So they'll catch 15 to get 5 the size they want.
Off
The rest of
season
them
or on
all wind.
season though?
No.
On
During the trout season,
during trout
there's a
season.
bag
Okay,
limit.
yeah,
You can't do nothing's unlimited, you know.
yeah.
If you were deer
Because
hunting, you buy 1 or 2 deer tags. If you're pig hunting, pigs are unlimited because they're just taking over, you know.
yeah, the wild boars pigs you're talking about, right?
Yes, yeah, wild
Yeah.
boars. My son-in-law, the one I was talking about earlier, he worked for a company that does all this construction and bridge work and stuff. Great job, a lot of prevailing wage type work. Anyway, they would show up really early at this thing that got washed out, this little bridge thing, and to go to work, and they'd get there before it was even light. Okay, and when it started to get light, all of a sudden the grain field that was adjacent to them was just like moving, and they realized that grain field was full of wild pigs. Well, Tim just flipped out, went and found the ranch hand and goes, well, you know, he goes, hey man, the pigs are destroying your crops. You know, you mind if I take care of a few of them for you? The guy goes, I don't mind, but you better go ask the owner of the ranch. So he went and asked him. The guy said, yeah. Before I knew it, unbeknownst to the owners of the place, my son-in-law was guiding pig hunts there and getting paid for it.
I know this might sound like a stupid question, but are wild pigs edible? Or
Oh yeah, no, they're edible.
so you can eat them. They're not like
Yeah, you don't want them to be too big because then it gets tough.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But the
okay.
younger ones taste as good as anything you've ever had as far as pork
Okay.
goes.
All right.
Yeah. So
'Cause I know they're-
anyway, so my son-in-law is taking people on these guided pig hunts on property he doesn't even own, and he's taking this guy from LA, and so they see the biggest pig they've ever seen across the canyon, and this guy shoots it. Well, it was really steep over there, and it starts rolling, and then it's head over heels, and it goes all the way down to the bottom of the canyon. And the guy goes, well, let's go get it. And Tim goes, no, you go get it. I will stay here and guide you to it. You just look at me and I'll point, because once we both get over there, we're going to get, you know, we're going to completely lose our bearings where this thing is. So the guy goes over there. He's getting really close to the pig. Well, the pig's not dead. The pig gets up, pissed off, and is walking towards the guy that's walking to get his dead pig. And Tim's just over there waving his arms and screaming at the guy, you know, hey, it's coming at you, you know, because pigs can tear you apart, you know. And the guy finally saw it and did shoot it again and kill it. Anyway, I don't want to talk about hunting stuff anymore. I don't do it anymore. I'll still go fishing, but I won't go hunting. And just too many experiences that kind of turned me off the way people acted out there. Not that's the way they acted, but I mean, you know, we're supposed to be sportsmen when we go out, you know, respect all the rules and stuff. And people just don't, you know.
That's exactly what I just said. Like
Yeah, they go out, they go out, they go poaching
and do this.
Yeah,
They're gonna
that's right.
poach and they're gonna do this without a license. They're gonna, you know, just like fishing, the same thing. You'll get fishermen that fish off season and catch all these fish while they're spawning and blah 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 like that. But if they get caught, like here, I know in Canada, if you get caught fishing off season there and you get caught by the MNR, they'll take everything, your boat, your
everything,
car, your kids, your wife.
No, that's absolutely right. You know, okay, I got to tell one more hunting story. So we go pig hunting. This friend of mine's dad and his uncle, and it was owned by their grandpa before, who I also knew. He was a paving contractor. I used to use him. They bought this acreage, you know, with its cabin on it. It sleeps about 30 people. Just a great place to go hang out and hunt, you know. And so we're out there, and we're going to go pig and deer hunting, you know. And so my son-in-law tells me, Royce, forget about the pigs. This is the last day of deer season. You shoot a pig, you'll scare every deer within 50 miles. Nobody's going to get anything. Okay, fine. So him and I are hunting together, and there's a bunch of other guys that are hunting in Paris and stuff. And Tim goes, I'm going to go over here. Why don't you just go that way? I go, okay, fine. So I'm walking down this little game trail, and I'm hearing all this thrashing, from down below. Pretty soon, a pig jumps up on the game trail. Now, pigs have terrible eyes. They don't see well at all, but they have a great sense of smell. And the pig is trotting towards me, and his ears are going like this. It's pretty good sized. He's getting closer and closer, and all I can hear in my head is my son-in-law saying, whatever you do, don't shoot a fucking pig. You'll scare all the deer away. And so I didn't want to shoot it. And he's getting closer. I'm on the same little trail he is on the side hill. I go, oh, this is ridiculous. They're all going to be pissed off, but here goes. I go, take one. I'll try one more thing. I waved my arms like this, and the pig stopped. He finally could see me when I did that. And he climbed up on the hill. He milled around for about 10 minutes. I could have shot him, and I didn't. And so anyway, make a long story short, I'm like, Tim, why the hell is everybody so worried about being camoed out? Pigs can't see shit. We always talk about that. Why do we need to put camouflage clothes on? He goes, that fence we passed? I go, yeah. He goes, that was the border of the Hearst Ranch. We've been on I didn't even know we were on someone else's property, and they have people out there, trying to catch people hunting on their property. So we're not camoed out for the sake of the pig. We're camoed out because we're poaching on the Hearst Ranch. And I had I never went back again. That kind of freaked me out.
Those pigs are vicious too, by the way. Those wild boars.
Oh yeah. They're vicious, man. I got to say, Michael, where have you been? Where have you been? We've been expecting you. You haven't come on now for about 4 shows. I don't know.
Must be my underarm deodorant or aftershave or something. What's going on? He never shows up anymore. Like when
I know, man, we really miss having you on. Look at this. I've never owned a gun in my life, but woe to the mucker futter who tries to take my American right to own one. When assault weapons are banned, say goodbye to more rights than you think you have. Okay, thank you. Mm-hmm. Thank you. And they only look like assault rifles. They're not fully automatic. They're semi-automatic.
Can't you change that though? Apparently, isn't there a thing that you what's it called? A gun stock? The thing that
a bump stock.
Bump stock. Yeah.
Yeah, they got banned. They got banned.
But I'm sure they can get some people can get a hold of them.
Well, and even your semi-automatics, there used to be kits to turn them fully automatic that you could buy. But you're seeing a whole lot less of that anymore.
But I mean,
Michael
what do you need
Nolan,
that
the
for
bottom
anyways?
line. Yes. Okay. So anyway, this is Michael Nolan. For those of you who don't know him, there may be probably nobody in the chat that doesn't know Michael, but there are going to be people that watch the show later. I might end the night with 80 to 100 viewers, but by week's end, it's 500, 800.
Can I
600.
show you something, Royce?
Absolutely.
It's not a big deal, but for me, it is.
Oh yeah, the obelisk, right? Yeah, no, that's all. Michael Nolan has one too.
Yeah,
I remember when he unboxed his on his show. Yeah, that's what'd you have to pay for that?
50, I think.
50.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, around that.
That's not bad. Yeah.
One guy was selling them on eBay. It was about like 10 or 15 of them for $200 or something like that. But you know what's going to happen. A person's going to buy all of those and probably sell them like for 100 each or something.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, Jimmy Page, that when they first presented it to him and asked him what he thought, he said, "Let's put a twist in it." And that's where
I wouldn't mind getting an original one, but I can't. They're expensive. You can't even find them. I don't think.
Right. Well, no, you can't find them. They're all in collections.
Yeah.
But Michael, I want to remind everybody, I know there'll be people watching that aren't in the live chat throughout the week, that Michael Nolan has a really, really good YouTube show called Michael Nolan, The Bottom Line. And Michael's been a host frequently here with me, and we have a great friendship, and he helps my show. He, posts things to help my show grow, and I support him every chance I get. And I highly recommend Michael's show. I knew Michael when he had, I think, 400 or 500 subscribers, 600 subscribers. He now is pushing 33,000 in about a year and a half or 2 years. And that you know what? It's all about content.
I remember first time I ever saw Michael. It was like I'm watching him, and all of a sudden I see him go, and then he goes like this. You know how he's right? And I'm thinking to myself, holy crap, right? This guy's gonna come on my computer screen or something. And ever since then, watching him, right, and doing reviews and all that is like very fascinating. Very fascinating. This guy knows a lot about this stuff.
Yeah, and, he does. Yeah,
very good shows.
Well, he was a professional musician for years too.
Yeah,
singer, songwriter, guitar and bass player. Yeah. Okay. Maniv's got something to say about gun ownership. Yeah. You know what? I don't. I don't care one way or the other anymore. I mean, I have a gun that my father owned since I was a young boy, and it's a Browning. They call it a BAR, Browning automatic rifle. But once again, it's not an automatic. It's a semi-automatic. One trigger pull, one shot. And that gun was made when they still made them in Belgium. A few years later, they started making that Browning BAR in Japan. And the Belgium made, I understand, mine's worth, maybe $3,500 because I inherited it from my father. I was the only one of his sons that could hit the broadside of a barn with the old military rifles he bought us to hunt with. Anyway, and, I don't know. I sure like to see that stay in the family forever. It's it's fairly rare these days. Anyway, Michael Nolan, if guns were banned, I'd agree, but disarming a population never ends well. And that would absolutely not end well. I agree with that. I mean, they're just people. I mean, there's like these there's been these militias and stuff around for years, especially back in the eastern states and stuff that think that someday they have to overthrow the American government because it's going to be, too tyrannic or whatever, tyrannist.
Yeah.
Too abusive to the people it's supposed to be representing. They pretty much represent themselves anymore. So I kind of relate to the mentality a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
but
it is what it is.
Like I find though the US is more like gun. They got guns everywhere. They used to give guns at Walmart. Guns. If you open up a bank account, you got a gun. Some cases many years ago. Stuff like that. It's like holy crap. It's like, here it's like
right.
You got a credit stuff, right?
Look at this. The Music Sanctuary. I saw some chat there that I didn't know what they were talking about, so I went back and found this. Get a good quality 3D printer. Download the schematics off the internet for free, and in a few short hours, you can have a handgun that will fire.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, they're making so much, with those big 3D printers. I've even seen them making house walls.
Everything.
Everything.
Just like this. This is probably done with the 3D printer.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
Right. It's
right.
3D, right?
Yeah, it's 3D, definitely.
And I mean, they make a big quantity of them. They'd probably have a huge 3D printer, to spit out so many,
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly right.
Right.
Okay, folks, let's see. What do we got here? 8:30. We've gone on a couple of hours longer than, we've gone on an hour longer. What am I saying? Groovy Lisa the pig. Pig equals bacon. Bacon equals food. Okay, I'm gonna finish scanning the chat, and then I haven't gone fishing in ages. Yeah, it's been a while for me too, Bill. I mean, we have lakes and rivers, all around me, and the ocean, of course. I really enjoy going out on the ocean to fish. I used to go during albacore season in particular. That was a lot of fun because the albacore, they circle the globe, and you talk about a 22-pound albacore will bend your hook straight. I mean, they are something else. What a fighting fish! They wear you out.
Yeah, I've been fishing. I fished a few times, right? But I'm very impatient, right, when it comes to fishing. And, and I'm thinking to myself one day, why don't I just go to a fish store, get a salmon, and take a picture of it, like that. I go to everybody, look what I caught.
Right.
A lot easier.
Well, and probably cheaper. That goes for almost all hunting. By the time you've invested in all the stuff, and you pack something to eat, you take some drinks, you got your $100 and something boots on, and everything else, and I mean, it is cheaper just to go to the damn market, believe me.
Yeah, because I mean, you can't get just if you're gonna, depending what fish you want to catch, like you can't just have a cheap reel and cheap line and cheap fishing rod. You got to get the best for
you've got to get good stuff for some of that. Yeah, good stuff.
So, and some of these reels are pretty expensive.
Oh yeah, you buy those tuna feathers to fish for the albacore. That stuff that stuff can add up quick too.
Yeah.
But I tell you, there's nothing more fun than hooking up an albacore.
Yeah.
Who knew there were that many people into crocheting? James. Hey, I want to thank all Michael's fans that come to my show. I really appreciate you guys, and there's been a lot of you that met me through Michael's show, and thank you all for joining, coming to the chat.
If you want to be a member of the tribe, go to Michael's channel and become a member of the tribe.
Member of the tribe, yeah. I'm a tribal elder.
There you go.
Yeah.
I respect you, old elder one.
No, it's fun though.
The Imperial Grand Poobah.
I have fun doing this. It gets kind of frustrating, It's like you go up 5 subscribers and you wake up the next morning and 3 of them are gone. It's like, why are people joining for a day or 2 days or a week? I mean,
I've got a whopping 170 subscribers. That's got that. All you people that are jealous out there, don't be jealous. It's okay.
But you did that. You did that in a relatively short amount of time, though, didn't you, Johnny?
And I didn't buy the subscribers either. I did it on my own.
No. Did people actually buy that and it works?
You can buy these things. You can buy subscribers. Like I didn't know that. You can buy like
1,000. I've read that like before. I just didn't know if it was.
I'm not into that. I want to earn it. You want to earn it on your own. That's the way I
know.
What
I mean? That's how your channel gains respect too.
Yeah, it's not fair to
buy, No. That's right.
In my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, Bill K lives in Northern California, and there are great rivers up there. I mean, I'm talking about rivers with salmon, steelhead, trout. Wow. Oh, I mean, big fish. Mm-hmm. We went salmon and steelhead fishing in Roseburg, Oregon. Me and my son-in-law. His aunt and uncle had a house right on the Umpqua River, and his mother and dad had been up there for a few weeks visiting. And the day before we got there, his mother and mom and dad left, but his mother had caught a 30-pound salmon in the backyard the day before we got there.
Wow. Yeah, we have in Northern Ontario. We have a lot of Great Lakes there that they're great fishing, and in BC.
Oh, I've always heard that about. I've always heard that about Canada. Yeah.
Great, fishing and.
Right. Buying subs is cheating. It is cheating.
Oh, that's the way I'm thinking, right?
Oh, I think we all feel that way. Yeah.
No,
you want to get them the old-fashioned way, earn them.
Yeah.
Costs money to monetize. Yeah, costs money to monetize. No, it doesn't cost. Well, I'm not monetized. I think I'm 18 subscribers short of being able to monetize. Wow. And I don't even think I would do it at 1,000 because I would wake up the next morning and I would be like too short or something,
But you know what,
I think
I don't do it for that. Like I got to have all these subscribers. I just do it because it's fun and it's killing time. You know what I mean?
No, I agree. I started out just doing unboxing. I would just unbox albums and talk about them, and I never even thought about 1,000, 500, 200, or anything like that. I remember having 60 for like 6 months or something, you know. But when you start getting close to 1,000, it's kind of like.
I mean, it feels good, you know.
I would rather have 1,000. I'd rather have 1,000 than 982. You know. I mean, because
if you're that
because it gets to the point where you feel like it's not a financial reward having 1,000.
No.
I've heard people say, you know, $35 a month or something from commercials, but it's not big money. It's a milestone. A milestone.
Yeah, it's an accomplishment.
It feels like it feels like all this time you've put in, even though you're doing it because you like it. It does take away from a lot of other things, and believe me, I think we probably all hear about that. But it's not fun to be stuck, you know.
Yeah,
you want to just continue to pick up a few here and a few there, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. You also need 4,000 watch time hours. Yeah. 1,000 subscribers, 4,000. I've been averaging 5,000 watch time hours now for, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 months. So the watch time hours are no problem for me. It's really just the last 18 subscribers. So if you're watching this show, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. And we would really appreciate. Cost nothing. Doesn't cost you anything. It just helps the show to grow, encourages us podcasters to keep going, to keep trying to put out content that people enjoy.
The watch time hours.
Give us a subscribe. Give us a subscribe. We would really appreciate it. Friends,
the watch time hours. Right. Do you mean like people watching your show?
People watching your show. You have to have 4,000 hours
and stuff, right?
4,000 hours within a 12-month period of time.
Okay.
You know, they only go back 12 months, so you can have it and then not have it the next year, and you're no longer part of the partnership.
So the videos, you mean like the one video I have with the 3 degrees, like there's over 2,000 views already on that. Right. So that's what you mean, right? That.
Yeah. Go to your analytics, and it'll show you how many watch time hours you have.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah. It's really easy to get to. Just go to your studio and look at your analytics. It'll tell you everything. It tells you what time the people watch your show are most apt to watch your show, what hours they're on, just all kinds of stuff, you know. I mean, anyway, whatever. Okay, guys, I want to thank you all for joining me. I really appreciate, everyone in the chat. Really appreciate Johnny and Chris. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. So we'll see how this show does. We got a movie coming out. Bob Marley, One Love's coming out in 2 days, and hopefully the timing is good. Sometimes it takes a little timing. And we're going to be done for tonight. And please come back next week. And that's what's going on in Royce's World today. Thank you all so much.
See you later, boys, girls.